You broke her. Imagine God sent you that woman as a gift, a test to see how you handle her, the one to heal you, to love you, to care for you, not only in this lifetime, but the next too. The woman who wants nothing but the best for you.
What if I told you that there's a massive shift happening in the dating world right now, and it's not what you think? A recent New York Times article has women literally begging men to return to dating, and the statistics behind this phenomenon will absolutely shock you. Picture this. You walk into any trendy restaurant on a Saturday night, and what do you see? Tables full of women, all dressed up, all waiting for dates that never show up. This isn't just happening in one city. It's a nationwide pattern that has dating experts completely baffled. But here's the thing. This isn't some mysterious cultural shift that appeared out of nowhere. Let me hit you with some numbers that will make your jaw drop. According to recent research, 63% of men under 30 are completely single. That's nearly double the rate of women in the same age group. Even more shocking, over half of these single men aren't even looking for relationships anymore. They've essentially walked away from the dating game entirely.
Life is a beautiful blessing. Life is a beautiful journey filled with so many highs and as many lows. And all these highs and lows and good and bad experiences make us who we are.
Now, before you jump to conclusions about lazy men or commitment issues, let me paint you the real picture of what's been happening over the past few decades. Society spent years telling women they were equal to men, then better than men, then that they didn't need men at all. Remember that old saying about women needing men like fish need bicycles? Well, that ideology has finally reached its logical conclusion, and the results are staring us in the face. The author of that Times article describes men as having quietly withdrawn from intimacy and vulnerability, not with violence or resistance, but with complete indifference. She talks about how men aren't sitting across from someone on Saturday nights trying to connect. They're scrolling, disappearing behind digital screens and curated online personas. While they vanished, women continued showing up, wondering where everyone went. But here's what she's missing. This isn't some inexplicable cultural mystery. This is the predictable outcome of decades of messaging that told men they weren't needed, that masculinity was toxic, and that traditional gender roles were oppressive. When you tell an entire generation that they're the problem, eventually they're going to stop trying to be part of the solution. The feminist movement didn't just advocate for equality, it actively positioned men as the enemy.
You look funny, nobody cares. You look stupid, nobody cares. Nobody cares about you. When will you understand that? You do good, they have something to say. You do bad, they have something to say. You do nothing, they have something to say. You do your best, they have something to say.
Traditional families were labeled as systems of oppression. Marriage was called patriarchy in disguise, and masculinity itself became something to apologize for. Universities, media, and dating culture all absorbed these ideas, and being a man eventually became something shameful. Now let's talk about what technology did to amplify this problem. Dating apps like Tinder literally gave women filters for everything: height, income, political views, even zodiac signs. The data shows women swipe right on only 4.5% of men. Think about that for a second. 95% of guys get rejected before they even get a chance to speak. Dating became like shopping on Amazon Prime for some fantasy perfect man. When women couldn't find this impossible standard in real life, they called it a man drought. That's like complaining about a famine after you've burned your own crops. The irony is staggering. The cultural messaging became crystal clear. Men were told their role was to provide, perform, and protect, but never to feel or have needs of their own. Meanwhile, hookup culture promoted casual encounters with high-maintenance women looking for 6-foot millionaires. Add in the climate created by certain social movements where men became terrified of false accusations that could destroy their lives overnight, and you have a recipe for complete male withdrawal. This isn't just a personal problem, it's become a national crisis. We're seeing record low marriage rates, record low birth rates, and record high loneliness across the board. The CDC reported that 1 in 4 young adults feel persistently lonely, with men leading an emotional disconnection. We're also seeing increases in what experts call deaths of despair, suicides and drug overdoses among men who feel completely disconnected from society. After decades of being told they're the problem, that they're not needed, and that they're just in the way, a generation of young men finally listened. And now we have articles wondering why nobody's showing up for dates anymore. The author I mentioned earlier admits to being a 54-year-old divorcee who worked for Playboy, writing think pieces about why men won't take her on dates. She's not pining for traditional families or stable marriages. She's nostalgic for when even one-night stands might end with breakfast together. That's her definition of meaningful human connection. Some people say men just need to try harder, be better, show up more. But imagine trying to show up to a battlefield where everything about your natural instincts is considered dangerous. Try leading when you'll be called controlling. Try protecting when you'll be labeled patriarchal. Try offering value when culture tells you you're worthless. The good men haven't disappeared. They're just done fighting battles they can't win. They're at the gym, focused on their careers, finding peace anywhere except in a system that punishes them for existing. And honestly, can you blame them? But here's the thing. There is a way back, although it requires admitting some uncomfortable truths. Men still want to lead, protect, and provide. It's biological programming.
A space, until you start to validate what you've been through, you won't actually heal. And it doesn't mean you need to stay stuck and you need to stay trapped. I think people think that if you accept that you have trauma and if you accept that things that have happened to you affect you.
But they need respect to function in that role. They need partners who appreciate rather than constantly challenge their contributions. If women want men to return to dating, it starts with dropping the lies that femininity is weakness, that needing a man is shameful, or that submission equals slavery. These are human dynamics that have worked for thousands of years. The solution is actually simple, though not easy. Committed relationships built on mutual respect. Men want partners they can lead, not opponents they have to fight. They want appreciation, not constant criticism. So when articles ask where all the men have gone, the answer is simple. They're building better lives elsewhere, away from a system that told them they weren't wanted. They'll come back when there's something worth coming back to: respect, gratitude, and peace. Until then, everyone can pay for their own dinner. What do you think about this massive shift in dating culture? Are we seeing the consequences of decades of mixed messaging, or is something else at play here?